Hello everyone. It is so wonderful to have you here as we dive into one of the most powerful tools in your governance toolkit, the internal audit. In professional terms, an internal audit for AI governance is an independent, objective assurance and consulting activity designed to add value and improve an organization's AI operations by evaluating the effectiveness of risk management, control, and governance processes. In simple words, it's a self checkup to make sure you are actually doing what you said you would do in your policy books. Think of it like a pilot doing a pre flight inspection. You don't wait for the engine to fail at 30,000 feet to see if the maintenance was done. You check the logs and the hardware while you are still on the ground. It's been observed consistently that companies that fail their external regulatory inspections are almost always the ones that skip their internal audits. Now that we understand that an internal audit is our way of catching our own mistakes before anyone else does, we need to look at who is actually qualified to pull back the curtain and look at the gears. When we set up these reviews, we have to ensure auditor independence, which is the condition of being free from influence, interest, or relationship that might impair professional judgment, ensuring that the audit is conducted with total objectivity. In simple terms, you can't grade your own homework. Let's break this down together. If the data scientist who built the model is the same person auditing it, they're going to be naturally biased towards saying it's perfect. They might ignore a small flaw because they know how hard they worked on it. An internal audit works best when it's done by a separate team. Maybe your internal risk department or a different tech group who can look at the system with fresh eyes and no ego. Stay with me here because that independence is what gives the audit its teeth. Now that we've mastered the who, we need to focus on the what, starting with the most important part of any AI, the data it eats. One of the first stops in our internal audit is data governance auditing, which evaluates the processes for data acquisition, quality, privacy, and lineage to ensure the AI's training and production data is compliant with legal and ethical standards. In simple words, we are checking the paper trail of the data. You have probably seen this at the office when someone asks, "Where did this spreadsheet come from?" In an AI audit, we go much deeper. We look at the consent forms for the users, the cleaning logs for the data scientists, and the security of the databases. In past audits, teams have discovered test data containing real customer names by mistake. Because those were caught in an internal audit, the organization was able to wipe the system and fix it before a single byte of data leaked to the public. Once we know the data is clean, we move from the ingredients to the brain itself to see if the math is behaving. This brings us to algorithmic accountability, the requirement for an organization to provide evidence that its automated decision-making systems are fair, explainable, and free from prohibited bias. In simple terms, we are asking the AI to prove its work. During the audit, we run our own stress tests. We feed the model different types of data to see if it treats people differently based on their age, gender, or race. We also check the explainability tools to make sure they actually make sense to a human being. If the auditor asks, "Why did the AI say no?" and the answer is just a shrug from the engineering team, that is a major finding in the audit report. Now, finding these issues is the goal, but we need a structured way to write them down so they actually get fixed, which leads us to the audit findings report. When the audit is done, we produce an audit findings report, a formal document that identifies non-compliance issues or gaps and mandates a set of corrective actions to bring the system back into alignment with the organization's goals. In simple terms, this is the fix-it list. This isn't about blaming people, it's about safety. Each finding should be clear. We found X problem, it creates Y risk, and you need to do Z to fix it. Some of the best AI systems in the world come from teams that had scary audit reports because they used those findings as a roadmap to become better. It's like a home inspection. You'd rather know the roof is leaking now so you can fix it before the storm hits. But even a perfect report is useless if it just sits in a drawer. Which brings us to the final piece of the journey, the management response. The final stage is a management response and remediation tracking, where the leaders of the AI project formally accept the audit findings and commit to a specific timeline for fixing the issues. In simple words, this is the promise to improve. The audit isn't closed until the changes are actually made and verified by the auditor. This creates a loop of continuous improvement. As governance professionals, our job is to make sure this isn't just a paper exercise. We want to see that the model was actually retrained or the policy was actually updated. This is where real culture change happens, when the whole company realizes that good enough isn't an option for AI.